editing is just,
The
it's
films
almost
themselves.
violent. It's
Yeah.
like there's a violence in his editing.
Well, the editing is really set to be as assaultive as his
Yeah.
style is as a comedian.
Exactly, exactly, yeah. The film reflects the subject in a way.
I guess I'm wondering about actresses, because you're talking about this sensitivity that you responded to in Brando and in Dustin Hoffman, and there must be actresses that you responded to.
Oh, sure,
too.
sure. I mean, you know, I was actually just with a friend, I was talking with someone about Out of Africa the other day, because that's a movie that for me really holds up as an amazing piece of work, and the whole thing's anchored in Meryl Streep. I mean, people don't talk about Meryl Streep in Deer Hunter because they tend to just talk about, you know, all the
Christopher Walken or John
Cazale
and
and
John,
all these people, but she's so great in that movie. Her longings are so palpable and so painful.
Are there other actresses? I just wonder who.
I gotta say, I always thought that Faye Dunaway was, Faye Dunaway had a run, you know, from Bonnie and Clyde to Chinatown to Network, Mommy Dearest. She was putting some performances down that when you go back and look at them, when you think about what actresses get put through in terms of sort of the beauty complex and the thing, she was like, she was really daring. She was being really daring in these performances. She was daring to look like ridiculous, daring to be, you know, insane in a way. You know what I mean?
That performance in Mommy Dearest was really kind of almost like watching kabuki theater done as opera. I mean, it's
so brave. Like, you have to, you're risking a lot. You know what I mean? You're putting stuff out there that, you know, the critique is going to fall on you, you know, if somebody hacks that together the wrong way.
Sure.
And I admire people who throw it against the wall that hard and say, let the chips fall where they may, you know, like, I'm going to go for it. And I think some of what contemporary generations of actors risk losing sight of is that you don't want to abandon theatricality. You don't want to abandon performances that are larger than life. Being naturalistic isn't the same as being, you know,
But naturalism is a style. It's a signature as much as anything else.
It is, but it's like... I
mean, which means
like,
you can be bigger with it.
Absolutely. It can be, yeah.
Was that a tough lesson for you to learn, though? I mean, because you came up kind of the tail end of that generation when people were talking about sort of like taking that thing which actually makes you smaller, not understanding that we go to the movies for a reason. You know, we don't want to really see our lives. You want to see the lives of people with some drama in that.
I agree. You want to see sharply drawn characters.
Yes.
That's what I mean about the mistake of interpreting. I mean, it's a mistake to look at all those people, you know, Pacino and Hoffman and the De Niro and these, and for young actors to look at them and go, oh, you know, they're so gritty and low key and cool, and not see how heightened those performances actually are.
Really? Because it's amazing that you could miss that sense of menace that came through in almost all those guys. You know, you're talking about even Hoffman in Midnight Cowboy. You know, I mean, this guy thought he belonged there. You know, he thought he had a purpose. He thought he belonged there as much as Joe Buck did.
Yeah, and talk about directors who are wonderfully open about their influences. Spike Lee is like, when we made the film The 25th Hour, almost every night at 8 o'clock, Spike would screen a movie. And one night he shows Midnight Cowboy just because he was like, he said, he goes, I just, they were doing things the way they shot The City. Rodrigo and I want to look at it. And I was sitting behind Spike, and we watched Midnight Cowboy. I hadn't watched a print of it in a long time. And it was so sensational, like, so sensational. Like, I mean, if that movie came out tomorrow and it hit the screen and none of us had ever seen it, I think we would go, that's one of the most radically modern movies, you know, anyone's seen. It's so bold, you know, like, it's just so, it's gritty, but it's also like, you know, I mean, that thing where they go into the Warhol party and the screen goes down to the 16mm movie camera size, and it's just, there's so much good stuff in it. And we watched the whole movie, and the whole time we were screening it, I was seeing Spike leaning over into the DP's ear and going like that, you know, watching it, cackling now and then. And when it ended, like, Spike jumps up and turns around to everybody and he goes, "Ha! Still a motherfucker." You know what I mean? And everybody just started laughing, and it was like you could just see, like, the joy on his face. He was like, he was like, to him, I think that he was like, I'll never make a movie that good, you know what I mean? And that's like, it's awesome. You got to have those ones. You got to have those ones that mean that much to you, because then you're still trying to shoot for something, I think, you know?
Cool. Well, we're out of time, man. Thanks so much for being here.
Anytime.
Thanks so much.
You can joke about it, Angel. But someday you'll find out who your friend is.
What an imagination. That's from writing movies. What a grip. That's from counting money.